Let's begin.
Welcome to Build an Agency, a podcast where we talk about the ups and downs of entrepreneurship, growth tactics, building businesses, and the events that affect your company. Let's jump right in. Welcome back to the podcast. We are on episode 14, and I'm sitting here in the studio with Attilio.
What is up, guys? What is up? And man, this week, dude, we plowed through some YouTube videos actually for this podcast as well. So I know that a lot of you guys who maybe are checking out this podcast on probably SoundCloud, most likely iTunes is where I think we've seen most of our listenership from. But you'll be able to check us out on YouTube now as well. So built up some of those links.
Disclaimer: that you won't be watching us like live or anything.
Oh, but soon.
It's an image with the audio track behind it, but we are looking into getting better equipment so we can have call-ins, as well as maybe if we can build this thing up on Facebook Live or YouTube Live, or there's a lot of ways we can do this where we can be on camera and interacting with the audience who we're building. And so we're actually really stoked for the opportunity to grow the podcast in that way. The audience is growing more and more. We're building that traction, but most importantly, we're building backlinks. We're putting this we're putting this podcast in as many places that can handle the audio, because we want lots of backlinks, because that helps our website's authority, and it's helping us rank nationally for a lot of terms right now.
Yeah, which we're actually doing phenomenal. So remember that, guys. Super simple SEO technique. The more people that you can get to syndicate your content, the more people that are linking back to you, exactly, the better. You just look like a beast online. So we've been doing that a lot this week. We've also been just kind of putting together a ton of content.
Lots of content.
So put together like a 430 term glossary. Put together like
how many pages that ended up being? Attilio's been working on this incredible online marketing glossary. Yeah. We were looking through other glossaries that have been published or are out there, and a lot of them haven't been updated in years. And so we wanted to kind of come up with like the definitive online marketing glossary for 2017. Make sure you check that out. We got some good stuff coming out of there. Attilio did an amazing job on it.
Yeah, it was like 76 pages, I think. Size 11 font. So
that's incredible.
Yeah, it was super robust. It has like 437 terms or something in it.
So what was it like putting that together? It was really
pain in the ass. Huge pain in the ass. No, awful. It was rough. Yeah. Like I had to I cross-checked like 3 glossaries for terms. And then of course I added some terms that I felt were necessary. I removed some terms that were like super outdated. Like nobody knows what the fuck Microsoft Search Network is. Like, do you know what Microsoft Search Network is?
Never heard of it.
Good. So like nobody's heard of like half this stuff. So like I went through and kind of like put a little bias on it, put my spin for online marketing on it. Anything that was like in any way just irrelevant, like 2006 called, I just pulled it out because it wasn't necessary. But some things were super important still. So like maybe if you're super into like search engine optimization, there were some scientists that were super important to like indexing and the theory of indexing, and a lot of the algorithms for search involve several different theories.
Okay.
So that's why I thought it was pretty critical to just keep those. So we kind of did that. That was super hefty. It took me a week, and I literally was working probably 16, 17, 18 hours a day just on some of these things. And a couple days, I was doing. I kind of did it on the side as far as like having to do other work, but otherwise it took tons of time. And then we put together I think you put together 3 blog posts this past week. I put together 1 blog post this past week. Ryan put together 2 or 3 this past week. We had some other blog posts just come out. We did a couple guest postings or rehashing for a couple other sites, and so
did that Microsoft search thing become Bing? No,
Microsoft Search Network did become Bing. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So Microsoft Search Network, what was the history for it? Jesus. It's MSN, right?
Yeah.
So, and they
remember
collided.
MSN.
Yeah, they collided together with Bing, and they just kind of they took a lot of Bing's search algorithm and they mashed it with the Microsoft Search Network, because Microsoft So
I had I had thought about using Bing for a long time. But I just remember I had to Google what Bing was, and at that point,
well, remember when so Microsoft kind of like forces itself on you sometimes
yeah,
because it's the operating system,
sure,
that and Internet Explorer. And Bing, since it's all owned by Microsoft, Bing is the standard search engine for Internet Explorer.
okay,
And so, like, you do get some searches through there. Some people actually prefer Bing. Maybe they like the algorithm. Bing was actually originally used for language translation. So it's actually got a super robust language translation system in it. So it's like pretty human like. So rather than using Google for like English to Spanish or English to Italian, go to Bing and see what they tell you, because it's pretty it's actually pretty solid. Yeah. So Bing is pretty good for that. But granted, most of our customers, like I was actually doing a report today for one of our larger customers, clients, not really customers. Yeah, definitely clients. So and they probably got a tenth of their traffic, their organic traffic, from Bing. So it's just like it's just really slacking.
So I wonder how many like leads we've actually can actually be attributed to Bing.
No, Bing is super sparse. There's a reason why we don't like. I don't even talk about Bing. I don't even like talking about it because they're super sparse.
I mean, I know we optimize for Bing, but it's kind of like on the off chance that someone happens to use Bing to get to your site. But
well, the market share for Bing and Yahoo is technically 30%, but I think it's even lower now.
oh wow,
Like,
okay,
yeah. So like Google takes up technically like 65%, and then Bing and Yahoo kind of take up the last 30-ish.
okay.
But I think it's even lower now. I think that was a number that was drastically, like under, or I guess over exaggerated. So I don't know. But anyway, I think it's really important for us to hit up some content marketing today. You wrote up a nice piece about content marketing. We talked a little bit about content marketing last week.
Yeah, so we did a lot of like kind of content marketing like theory. And so, as we were, kind of grinding in the paint this week on our content marketing and our blog pieces and all the video stuff that I put out for the podcast and all that, I got to thinking like maybe I can define each type of content marketing, how it could be used, what it could be used for, industries that might do well with it. I don't know. I mean, I put together a pretty long article about the types of content marketing. So if you ever go to the Hone site, you can check that out on our blog. We're really excited about all the stuff we're putting out, but I really want to talk through that in this podcast and kind of do content marketing part 2 to kind of really expound on what we did in the first one.
It's like if you're taking the time to put together content, right?
Yeah.
Why the hell does it matter? Like, and I could see why a lot of people would think that, or I could see why a lot of people are like, okay, I'm putting together a blog post, like, but I'm not making money from it. It's
Sure.
like, oh,
so
but
like a disclaimer for our audience, like you don't have to go and listen to part 1 right now in order to get something out of this. But I definitely would recommend, like, when you're done with this, go check out part 1. We do a lot.
It was just last episode, right? Episode 13.
Yeah, episode 13. Okay. It's called Content Marketing, and you can get some more nuggets out of that. So yeah, just real quick for our audience or someone who's just tuning in for the first time, man, what is content marketing?
Dude, content marketing is like distributing any creation that you have, anything that you think would be valuable to your audience or your target demographic, your target audience, distributing it, and that's the marketing side of it. And then the content side is just creating that content for them. So content marketing is pretty much like a strategic approach to putting out who you are and what you can offer your clientele. And so what the effect ends up being is you create something once, right? You create a blog post, you create an infographic, and it stays on the internet forever. And anytime someone's looking up information for that kind of stuff, they have a chance to run across your information, and they will then subsequently go to you. They will see you as a trusted site. They'll understand that you have expertise on the matter. They might check you out. Sure. And the obvious end goal is for them to buy something from you, right? Nobody does marketing for charity. Everybody does marketing, to get those bills paid or whatever else. So whatever your expression is for making money. So
Sure.
But yeah, that's sort of the long roundabout like content marketing definition.
Sure. And the goal is to attract and to retain a clearly defined audience. So one of the most important things you can do before you start creating content is, who are you making this content for? Like, understand who your audience is, like what are their pain points, what are they going through, and like how do your products and services solve these problems? Because if you're, say you're a plumber, like you're clearly an expert in your field at plumbing. So like if you start writing like how-to articles and whatever, like things that can help out your audience, they might see you as more of an expert in your field, and they might actually use your services on the website. That's an example.
Or hell, even like people who are DIYers that wouldn't normally call you.
Yeah.
Say you write like, hey, my pipes just bursted. What do I do? And it's like, oh, well, that's an easy fix for a plumber. You just put it out there. Because here's the thing. The people that think they can do it, or the people that are going to try to do it, like, your job is tough. You're a plumber. Like, not everybody can just be a plumber overnight. You've had, 25 years of experience being a plumber. And, it takes time to learn. It takes time to do things right. You can't just break up a wall and then patch it back up or do whatever you got to do for the job. Like, putting that information out there isn't going to make it so that people steal your stuff. It's not like
you just gotta remember,
not like you can just do things overnight. It's like your job can't be replicated that easily.
You're selling them their time back.
Yeah.
So, sure, could they possibly do your job? Yeah. Is it going to take them, 10 times the amount of time to accomplish the same task and possibly incorrectly that you would get done quickly, efficiently the first time? Like, most people don't really want to get down on the floor and spend 10 hours working on something when they can just call a plumber who can walk in the door and just get it done quickly and move on.
Yeah.
So you're not hurting yourself by giving away your quote unquote proprietary secrets, because the reality is, if you're not going to tell them, your competitors are. And they're going to call your competitors up and go, man, you were really helpful on your blog. Can you come over and
boom. Yeah.
So
and that's just one example.
That's one example. Yeah. We're about to go through like 15 types of content marketing.
Oh, sweet. I'm so pumped.
Yeah, man.
I'm really what's the first type?
Man, so content type number 1 is infographics.
Oh, man. Actually, I really like infographics.
Yes.
Especially when they're done really well. So, do you want to how do you, what's the format for this? Do you want to explain what it is and then just kind of talk about it, or do you just want to discuss? Let's discuss.
Sure, let's just discuss it. So, An infographic is exactly what it sounds like. Info and graphic, right? So you're putting a bunch of information into a graphic so that this, like a concept that you're trying to teach or explain, is easily digestible by your audience. So I don't have to go read a 2,000 word article whenever I can glance through this like infographic and really immediately understand what exactly you're talking about. It's huge, right?
Oh yeah. So actually, there's a lot of really big internet marketing like titans out there that are huge proponents for infographics. So just to let you know, a well-made infographic could probably cost you like close to $1,000, like straight up a G. And it's because, you're doing research, you're getting all these new points, and then you're putting the graphics together to make the data like very digestible.
Sure.
You can you go to a website to have them made for $5? Yes. You can. So there are websites that just have quick infographics like turned out, right?
Yeah.
But that's oftentimes not the point of an infographic. The point is to have new information that no one's ever seen and deliver it to them in a way that they can just learn something, within 15 seconds.
And I know that the price point sounds really scary, but the reality is that infographics aren't just some kind of like best kept secret that a lot of people just don't realize are helpful. Infographics are actually liked and shared on social media up to 3 times more often than any other content.
Oh yeah.
So they're extremely powerful, and everyone's using them,
especially on platforms like Pinterest or something.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a duality to infographics. People use the hell out of them, right? they're super super shareable. So not duality, triality. Is that even a word? Probably not. So people like them because they're easy to digest. People share them because they're super easy to share and they get the point across very quickly. And sites like Pinterest, which have the highest outgoing traffic rates, that means people are more likely, 50% more likely to share off of Pinterest than any other social media platform, including Facebook. So to check your picture out and go to your site, and infographics are great to be shared on there. Not only that, but they're backlink gods. They will build your site authority like crazy because they share so often and so well. So when people are syndicating all your content, guess what you're getting? Backlinks. So that just makes you look so strong. So strong.
So use infographics when you're trying to communicate almost any idea or concept. So that could be data, research, statistics, and like findings that are communicated well through visuals, right? So you can't expect an infographic about just anything, but when it comes to like, I need to explain a bunch of research quickly or data or statistics or something like that, I need to put this in like a fun or easily like understandable way so that people like will remember those stats later. You need to do it.
And if you can tell a story with that data, oh man,
well,
that's how you win for sure.
Here's something that's a little more of a best kept secret that a lot of people aren't doing yet, but I really do see the potential to take off, or for them to take off, would be gifographics, right? Okay. So animated GIFs that you are using to tell the story of your research or tell the statistics of something. So it's like an infographic, but it's in motion.
Actually, I think I like gifographics more. Now that you mention it, I think I do.
I think they'll be super shareable. I'm not seeing a lot of them around right now, but like
it's probably because they're not easy to make yet.
They're not easy to create, but if you've got a really awesome like product or like story or something, gifographics would be fantastic.
Yeah, I think the animation is just a layer that makes learning just like so awesome. Like having the X concept, the Y concept, and the Z, like having the third dimension, having the fourth dimension to it. Obviously with more dimensions, you're increasing the data that you can deliver all at once. So that is just powerful. Wow. Okay. Infographics, super solid, super sexy. Type 2?
Type 2. Content type 2 are memes.
Yes.
Like actually, like I promise. So memes are easy to digest and are enjoyed by nearly everyone, especially if they are funny. If you can make people laugh, you have made something very shareable that people may let their friends know about through social media. So like literally, how many times have you shared a meme with somebody? Like think about it.
You probably have shared a meme today.
You probably shared a meme today. I have. I've shared multiple.
And that age demographic is everybody. Like there every age is sharing memes at this point, and it's because they're socially, it's what's happening in the culture. Yeah. I mean, that's the definition of a meme, right?
It's honestly how a lot of people communicate irony and like sarcasm. Like it's crazy. It's like another dimension of sarcasm. Like it's like visual sarcasm.
I think too, memes would be super solid for businesses that are trying to target their own industry.
Yeah.
So, like, say you're trying to hire people, or say you're a software company trying to get in contact with, like, software nerds or something, right? Or, like, say you're a marketing company and you want to get in contact with marketing nerds. Like, use memes for your own industry, because then it's like you're poking fun at yourself. Yeah. Oh, man, that's just gold right there. I like memes. Oh, man. And their images. So think of the backlink gold that you can get.
Yep.
Jeez, talk about authority, talk about shareability. I mean,
for sure. Real. So some best practices: keep memes on social media. Do not use them in your blogs.
Dude, I've seen them in presentations and stuff. What do you think of that?
I actually don't like it.
They're not shareable there.
I think they're funny in certain instances. Like we went to an HR seminar that actually used a lot of like the office memes and stuff like that. And for what they're talking about, it was fine, but it was a really risky move by them. So memes are extremely adaptable. They can be used in any niche, and they're great. But one of the big problems with memes is they're really low value. So if you overuse them or misuse them, they actually can devalue your message or brand that you're trying to promote.
Actually, that's smart.
So like try and like use them sparingly, but like don't be afraid of them. Like post them on social media when you find out a really funny idea about your industry or something that maybe like your customers are going through that they might get a chuckle at. Don't be afraid to do it, but make sure you keep them within social media. Make sure they're actually funny. Like run them by some of your friends first before you put them out, and just have fun with it. But memes are a great way of producing more content.
I like it. I like it.
Content type 3, videos.
Yes.
So they convert nearly better than any other content type, and there's so many ways.
It's like 7 times more conversions, right?
Yeah, you can implement videos into so many different kinds of content strategy, like blog, social media, you name it. Like you can do whatever with videos. So you
ads,
like we were talking about earlier. We can make like a really savvy DIY video for your audience. Like you're that plumber showing them how to fix the sink, or maybe you're a carpenter showing people how to use a sanding belt for the first time, or different things like that, or like my dad, for example, like that's what he uses YouTube for. Is like when he's trying to fix something that he doesn't know how to fix, he immediately types it in on YouTube,
right?
And it's great. And so I can only imagine that if those guys were like local, he would feel like totally down to like call them up and be like, hey, would you come and fix my sink? Will you come and replace my garbage disposal or whatever? So like that's a really great way of doing things. You can show off your latest funny commercial, right? With using like YouTube or Vimeo or whatever. You can wow your viewers with incredible visuals. So say you are a wedding videographer, you can really show off your chops. So like maybe you've shot like 10 weddings this year and you did an amazing job. Put together a show reel of all of them together and put that out there on your Facebook page and your blog and your website. So all these like engaged couples who might come across your website or your content might go, man, these are some really great visuals.
Yeah, I want something like that.
I want something like that for our wedding, so I want to remember this well.
Yeah. Talk about building your brand up.
So
like, here's the thing too. A lot of people maybe even get discouraged with videos or even content marketing in general. Just remember that one view of your content, one is better than 0, right? So literally that one view could be the owner of X company that you've been trying to get with. It could be the owner. Fish. Yeah, it could be the owner of CNN. That one view could be the like big wig at BP or something. Like don't think that, oh man, my videos, like it's only getting one view, it's not being shared. Like just keep grinding it out. Figure out what does get shared. Figure out what that one person wants to see. Figure out what those 12 people want to see, and it'll start increasing your content value in general. And like we were saying, videos are the top conversion rates. Like 7 times more conversions, which means they're awesome for ads.
Yep.
Awesome for ads. So how do we need to pull this off?
Dude, well, so what I would say is you could even do like a 2 to 3 minute video, which will be more than enough time for a lot of like marketing strategies. But there's some really like important things you got to keep in mind. To make good quality video content is going to be expensive but worth it. Like video crews just are not cheap, and they need to be planned out well. Like,
what about my iPhone, dude?
I mean, so our online modules we actually shot with an iPhone, which are great. But again, it's not the most like high quality thing you could come up with. So really gauge what your needs are for those videos. And just understand that if you need it, you need to outsource that, or like you need to hire someone else to do it. It could be really expensive, but I really do think it'll be worth it. So if they're planned out well, like you also have to make sure that you have a script and like some on-screen text that clearly communicates like the message you're putting across. And I know I keep saying that like videos are worth it but expensive, but another thing that another thing that videos actually do help like tremendously is going to be your SEO. Right, so if you use like YouTube and Vimeo and you put your video content on that, and these like platforms will gather tons of social signals for your website.
Yeah, definitely.
So videos aren't just for entertainment. Videos can help with your conversions. They convert 7 times higher than any other piece of content. Videos will blow your SEO up if you're getting tons of views on that.
Actually, sorry, chime in back up for SEO. So Google can actually read your closed captionings, and it
Okay.
can understand what your video's about.
Oh shoot, really?
Yeah. So when you're making videos about your stuff, it builds crazy context for when it links back to your website.
I actually didn't know that.
Yeah. So it builds crazy context. Plus, you're not supposed to do this, but I've seen some of our top competitors, like literally national brand dudes, like dudes that you are buying from, dudes that work with Disney, dudes that, these huge guys, they're just keyword stuffing in their YouTube videos. And like they're not being obnoxious about it, but they're like saturating keywords into their YouTube video descriptions. And so it's just unreal context, and it's building this huge, massive link for their website each time they put out a video. So keep that in mind. It's helping you out. It's helping you out. So
That's cool. Content type number 4, guides. A guide is a detailed, longer piece of content that aims to walk your audience through intricate processes. These are also a great place to use those infographics we were talking about earlier.
like embed infographics in these huge guides. So what's the size for guides? Like delineate a guide from a shareable piece of content. What do you think? I have an idea in my mind. I have a number.
More than 2,000 words.
More than 2,000. Okay. So, yeah, actually, that's probably pretty solid. I'd probably say like 1,900, 2,200-ish. Maybe more, 24, 27, 3,200 words. So, the more words, like right now, the most number one ranked items in Google search engine are 2,200 words. Like 2,200 words. And it's because Google sees content like that, guides like that, as more informational and more relevant and more of a chance to answer what the person's query is. Right? So guides actually rank you very well.
Yep.
So if you're doing some solid keyword research, some solid keyword targeting, what's going to be up at the top? A guide.
I would say a guide is like the in-between between an article and an ebook. It's kind of like that middleman. So in order to write a really good guide, you're going to need 3 things: a good writer, a good designer, and a concept that your target audience is wanting to read about. So like a problem they're having, questions they need answering, etc. So the writer and the designer, they need to be like big time, like cooperating to be able to communicate the ideas that you have in a coherent and an attractive way. Meaning the writing has to be very good to be able to explain simply to your audience what you're needing to get across, and your graphic designer also needs to be piggybacking off what the content they're putting out and explaining that content with an infographic. It keeps things looking really nice. It keeps things looking high quality. You don't want to scrimp on design with a
Infographic
yeah.
and content like that, yeah.
Like readability and presentation go hand in hand. Like you need to make sure your writers and designers know what they're doing.
Yeah. That's pretty solid, actually.
Let me see. Content type number 5, I would say, would be book reviews. So,
Okay.
yeah, you wouldn't think this is much, but I think they're actually a really big deal. Book reviews are used to discuss a book as well as your opinion on it. This is a great way to position yourself as a thought leader in your field.
Which is important.
We use the word thought leader a lot on this podcast. Would you like to explain what a thought leader would be?
So anytime you hold your hands with all the fingertips touching each other,
Oh my gosh.
you become a thought leader.
Instant.
So a thought leader, I kind of think of thought leaders almost as synonymous with influencer, right? So someone who influences a community is probably a thought leader. That means like any of your social media influencers. So this is a business blog. This is an entrepreneurship. This is a business podcast, an entrepreneurship podcast. So you probably know the influencers in this field. We have tons of like high-powered influencers like Tony Robbins or Gary Vaynerchuk or man, I don't even know. There's just tons of them. It depends what size you follow. Some of you might consider Ty Lopez as one, or just anyone with huge social pull in your category of interest. That's an influencer. That's a thought leader. Bill Gates is a thought leader for computers and business.
Sure.
Steve Jobs, when he was alive, was a thought leader for hardware creation and for business. I mean, Mia Hamm was sort of a thought leader for soccer when she was big. I guess now it's like Messi and whoever else was for soccer. And Peyton Manning, huge football. So whatever category you're in, the person that has tons of influence is a thought leader.
For sure. So when you're reading books by, of course, other thought leaders, because usually the authors are really where a lot of the thought leadership comes from. When you are critiquing and you're endorsing other thought leaders, people begin to see like, hey, like Attilio really thinks for himself and he really understands what he's talking about enough to like come up with rebuttals to critique this guy, or he really like kind of fits in with like a very Gary Vaynerchuk kind of guy who can who believes these things or these concepts. And so by writing lots of book reviews, you're actually positioning yourself as a thought leader. And so pulling them off is pretty simple. You introduce the book, you introduce your author, you summarize the book's major points with like 3 sentences per point. You share what you liked about the book, you share what you didn't like about the book, and you recommend it or not to your readers. And it's just that simple.
It's actually pretty interesting. That formula is on the blog post, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So if people want to go check that out, they can check out types of content marketing.
Yeah, types of content marketing.
Okay.
I've got a format for that. I also have a format for how to write an ebook, so I've got that on here as well.
Snap.
So,
how scalable do you think writing book reviews is?
I think it 100% just depends on your industry.
Okay.
I know that we say that a lot, but it's just true. Like if you're a plumber, like I don't know how many people are wanting to read book reviews about plumbing books.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I think it totally depends. Like,
so how education filled your industry is.
Yeah, I mean, I think book reviews would probably be really good in our industry. Actually, I kind of think we should do book reviews at some point in time.
Okay.
Be able to critique guys like Ty Lopez or Gary Vee, or there are things that we hear from them that even we don't agree with all the time. So
yeah.
So I don't know. It just depends on your industry, but.
Dude, that would be crazy to write a super like controversial piece against like something, I don't know, Gary Vee says, and just like actually have some solid points behind it.
Well, prepare yourself, because that's content type 6, the opinion post.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
People love controversy. While opinion blog posts are not necessarily educational or well researched, you can get a lot of exposure by expressing controversial opinions.
Mine's going to be research. Mine's going to slay somebody. I'm ready. I'm going out for blood now. Oh, man. Okay.
All right. So every once in a while, you don't want to overdo this. You can write your opinion on a hot button issue. This could be changed in the market, or changes in the market, a critique of someone famous, or harmful policies. So if you want to get into politics, be my guest. We don't do that. But yeah, you can like, again, that's like us criticizing something Gary Vee says and go like, this is bullcrap. Like this is not a real thing. Or we can critique a policy or something that's going on. Like I think we're talking soon about like trying to have like our one of our friends on to talk about net neutrality. So that's probably going to be an opinion piece of us talking about the current state of the FCC.
Opinion, just like a bias.
An opinion podcast. Well, yeah, but. So some things to keep in mind when you're addressing these topics. You don't want to do this every day. Like you can completely overwhelm your audience or annoy them or whatever. But you need to use a lot of tact. Like don't insult people on the other side of the aisle. Like people that I might follow or agree with this person. Like don't insult them. By insulting people who like don't share your viewpoint, you will quickly drive your audience in half, or divide your audience in half. Like, you don't want to do that.
That's why I'm thinking like, if it's just super researched, like you almost you can like actually win if you are very tactful. There's actually like a winning point. It's almost like a rap battle when you're just like, wow, that guy just actually won. Like it's not even about like what side you're on. You can just be like, wow, actually that guy just won. Like he had the better points. It totally made sense for his direction.
Sure.
And you can like stir up the controversy pot. You can stir up the expertise pot at the same time.
Well, so another thing that I think is very important to keep in mind with opinion or rant type posts or podcasts or rant content or videos or anything else that you're expressing, like your opinion on a controversial issue. make sure the popularity and the traffic of those issues are worth it. Like
Don't call out some
don't
random.
divide your audience over like something that isn't going to benefit you at all. Like I don't know, because I feel like because you should be doing rants for exposure and like getting your name out there.
So it can kind of fold backwards on you.
100%. Like,
Yeah, so it's sort of something
that's why I say in this article to be very sparse with your opinion posts. Like, don't do this all the time. Like,
and only
these
on
are
hot buttons.
these are risky.
Yeah.
And the risk can be worth it. And like, some things are just worth speaking out about. Like, again, we'll be talking about hopefully net neutrality in the next couple weeks on this podcast. But, you know, you just got to be very, very careful. Very careful. So, content type 7. This is kind of like book reviews, product reviews.
Okay.
Right? So, just like a book review, product reviews can establish yourself as a thought leader in your industry by providing positive and negative feedback on the various products in your industry. You may be gaining industry-wide respect. So, this is the exact same thing as the book review. Like, you become a thought leader when it comes to different products. So like one of my best buddies, his dad is actually one of the top like reviewers on like guns and sporting goods on Amazon. It's kind of crazy, but people will message him and go like, "Hey, what do you think about
X?"
Yeah, this product, and like they'll listen to him because he's established himself as a thought leader in that field. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, it's the same format. If you run a product review, like, you know, introduce a product, introduce who created the product and what they do, describe what the product is, share what you like, what you don't like, provide your recommendation or not, and
could you imagine if he came out with like a gun line?
Yeah,
he'd probably just bank out because he's like, you know, like a hunting line or something of clothing or rifles or something. Well, like once you're a thought leader, once people have established you as like the person to go to because you're an expert in the field, I mean, you can do anything in that field. Like, and you are just you've already just controlled like part of that market share, you know.
Yeah.
So,
and you can also do them on a video, which is also really cool. You can kind of show the product off. Like if you look on
those guys
YouTube videos, like YouTube video like product reviewers, like they get a ton of watches. So
or like first opens.
Well, if you've got it, so if you have a wildlife blog and you're like reviewing like guns and camping equipment, and you put out really good YouTube content, like that's a ton of social signals going to your blog, and you're probably gonna get new readership because of it too.
Yeah.
So, like, never underestimate like the video, how, you know, the video
content,
product reviews, you know, craziness. But content type 8, how-to posts. How-to guides are incredibly effective. People are constantly using Google to figure out how to solve their problems. Find problems that your target audience are having and use how-to guides to answer their questions. This can drive traffic and leads to your website. So,
plus super shareable.
Exactly.
Because they can be in like sort of bullet point format. Like you can take these how-tos. It's almost like a combination between a guide and a list, you know?
Yeah.
So how-to, man, that's a powerful, especially when you're answering just like a question that's like, hey, how to change, so we were using plumbers before, how to change pipes, right? Yeah. How to change out your pipes, and you happen to be like a gasket sales person or something. It's like, then take out your, you know, 3.5 inch blank gasket from our company, and it's like all of a sudden you have a link going straight to your gasket that you're selling. Like, let's be real, like how-to guides, you can totally do product placement, you can totally be the expert in the field. Like, it's too simple to buy something off of Amazon Prime now that it's like, if you're not doing how-to guides and you don't have a link to your like Amazon account, if you're selling a product, like, let's be real, like, so simple to just make extra sales like that.
Yep.
And I think if you're just being thorough, using plenty of visuals to communicate the process for the audience, I mean, that's a no lose situation.
Yep. Content type number 9, lists. We've all seen them on Facebook. 19 ways to, 18 times that.
4 things you're not doing with.
Yeah. all over the place. So lists are an extremely popular type of written content that people have consumed for centuries. If you scroll through Facebook, chances are you'll see an article that starts with something along the lines of 10 ways to, 5 steps for, etc. if you can segment your audience, or if you can segment your advice for your audience into a list format, you will have a better chance of being read and shared.
So lists are in the top 3 pieces of content that are shared the most.
Yep.
And it's obvious. Like this is all it takes. 9 things to do blank 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 for your husband. Number 4 blew my mind. That's the post. And then you guarantee, or I can guarantee, that every single person that has a husband will go check out that post. Like, it's almost clickbaity. It's almost too easy because they're like, oh, 10 things? I'm just going to scroll through that really quick. I'm just going to share that really quick to my friend because it was only 10 things. It took me literally 90 seconds to run through the whole thing.
Yep.
Like, people just engage with that kind of stuff. People just love taking a look at lists.
Yeah, so
there's a reason you see them all over Facebook.
make sure you choose a topic that's relevant to your audience's needs and pain points. Yeah. Like,
or relatability.
Don't share lists to where like your audience is sitting there going, "Who cares?" You know. Make sure it has something to do with what you provide or like what kind of company you are. So you want to introduce your topic. You want to list your points out with a description for each point, and then conclude. Very simple. And an important thing you got to remember is people will actually skim through this kind of content. So be detailed, but don't write like a novel about each individual point. So like some people might just want to like read just the headers. You know, don't be surprised if that happens. And some people actually will sit down and like read all your paragraphs and stuff too. But make sure it's extremely skimmable, and I guarantee you the shareability will be there.
So piece of advice really quick, since I just thought of it, since we're talking about shareability. This piece of advice came from the owner or one of the co-founders of BuzzFeed.
Okay.
So if you guys know BuzzFeed, they're huge on putting together just shareable content. Mm-hmm. And he was asked, how do you know what makes a post shareable? Like how do you know that someone will share this article or this piece of content? And he replied by saying, if you know someone that would share it, chances are someone else will share it.
Sure.
That's it.
Yeah.
So if you know someone that will share it, so I have 900 and somewhat friends on Facebook. If I know someone in that group that would share it, chances are someone else will share it, and someone else will share it, and that's how it goes viral. So put together content that you think someone will share from your group, from your audience, from your community. If you do that, chances are you're on the right track.
Gotcha. So number 10 is kind of like a very little known type of content marketing. I was actually a little hesitant on with like putting on the list just because I don't know how many people are actually going to like do it. But they're called link pages, and they're useful for many reasons. First, you're providing your audience with like a helpful outside resources that you've aggregated into one place. So like your blog or whatever. So you could do like a blog post like we could do our Hone's top 50 favorite websites to build backlinks, and we provide you with a link for every single website with a description of what that website is and where you should go to build your link. And that would be massive because it'd be a helpful piece of content for all of our friends who are trying to do their own SEO, as well as providing a ton of links to going out to other websites so that Google can build that context. So they're huge.
It's actually kind of cool. I think I might build one.
You should.
It might not be too tough.
And you spread link juice to other websites that provide your website. Yeah, with you get more domain authority from this, and it really does help your SEO out quite a bit.
Yeah.
So pretty simple.
Make sure. I guess the only tip would be make sure you're not being spammy with it. Like, so don't go overboard with the links. You know, we were saying 50, but maybe.
Yeah, we wouldn't do 50. We'd probably do like
10 or 12.
You know, I'd do like smaller portions, but
top 7,000 places.
Yeah, Hone's top 7,000 websites to build backlinks.
Yeah.
No, we're not.
And there's not like a line either. It's not like, oh wow, he did 30 instead of 29. Now he's being spammy. No, there's not like a line or anything. It's just
for sure.
You just put it together, and
Content type 11 ebooks.
Ah, yes, the elusive.
So ebooks are amazing.
I so badly want to put one together, actually.
Oh, it needs to happen. If they're addressing issues that matter to your audience, they become the perfect incentive for building email lists. You can do this by requiring their email address be submitted into a subscription field before they are able to download the book. They are often in PDF format, so they're easily downloadable. By creating relevant ebooks, you can share your expertise and position yourself as a thought leader in your field. So in the same way you're piggybacking off of the thought leadership of other authors by writing a book review, you can also like posture yourself up by writing your own book. And like I said in this article, like you can use them as incentives, right? So if you're trying to build that email list, be like, hey, I'm going to give you my email or my ebook for free. If you just plug your email address in and subscribe to my newsletter, then you've got this huge, subscription list full of potential leads for your products and services.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Could you imagine selling an ebook for like $10, $12 and just using an affiliate to sell it, like an affiliate network to sell it? Like, that's just a direct sales approach, too.
Yeah.
I mean, use it to collect emails, use it, so obviously incentive, use it to not collect emails and just drive traffic over, like free downloads or something, right?
Yep.
Like,
so ebooks
pretty versatile.
Ebooks need to be around like 10,000 words would be, I think, an optimal goal for an ebook. 10,000 words.
Which, if a freelance copywriter is writing that, it's probably, I don't know, how many pages is 10,000 words? Do you know?
I'm not exactly sure. I think it just depends on what you're reading on, like PDFs and like physical copies and different kind of things will have like a different.
I would. What if I told you $1,000? Is that too steep for an ebook?
I know a content writer that will probably write an ebook for around $1,000. Like they're not cheap, but you can write your own. So come up with a thought or like a concept that you think that your audience will enjoy or would find interesting enough at least to give you their email, and then organize those thoughts into chapters and just write 10,000 words. Like, I know that's crazy,
easier said than done. No, but seriously, like, it's pretty straightforward, and it's a great incentive. You end up using it. If you write something evergreen, you'll use it forever. So, I mean, win-win situation.
For sure. Content type 12. Case studies. I love case studies. Case studies explain how your products and services helped your client. They're great for providing examples to leads on how your business could impact their lives. You want to tell your audience what you do, then how you do it, and then the results.
That's pretty sweet. And I think a lot of people actually don't gate their content. So you can actually gate case studies really well. And what I mean by that is put a form right before they get your case study and capture an email. Mm-hmm. Straight up. If someone's trying to look at your case studies, they're probably interested in what you have to offer. Sure. So gate it. Put an email. Like before they see a case study on their construction or something, or say your bank account or something, gate it. I mean, it's just quick win scenarios where you can just like start generating leads.
I guess gating could work. I think at the very least, make sure there's like a form where they can like a contact form under all your case studies, so that when they see like the impact, if they want a quick way to like reach out to you and get like more information, they can do that.
Boom, form, yeah.
So that's what I would do. I wouldn't gate it as much, but I would definitely at least provide that form so they can contact you easily. And so, kind of a good model for case studies is like you write a summary of the study and a preview of the outcome. Then you lay out the problems that the client was having and how you were able to overcome them. And then like talk about the solution to the problem and write that solution out step by step. Discuss your results and why they're successful to your client, and then like a conclusion and then a call to action, right? So like contact us now for, free consultation on our online marketing services or whatever else. And so case studies are fantastic marketing tools, but like do not use them as a selling point almost. Like don't oversell anything. Like the results should speak for themselves, and you got to remember you're telling a story, so you got to organize it like one. So the story should be so good and compelling, and your services should sell themselves. Like don't
I want that story.
Don't-
I want to be Cinderella, you know? Like,
You know, like don't be like ex-client was having this problem, but using our services, which by the way are $19.95. Like, you know what I mean? Like
for the low price of...
don't overdo it. It's going to totally ruin your case study, and people will probably not fill out your form. So
Get in contact with us now 3 times throughout it. Like, chill out.
like your services should sell themselves. Like the results should do it if you're doing it right. So content type 13.
Oh, you won't believe this.
It's podcast.
It's podcast, baby.
Welcome to content type 13.
Welcome to the podcast.
Welcome to the podcast. Like podcasts are my favorite type of content. Case in point, we have a podcast.
Were they your favorite 6 months ago?
Yes.
Okay, interesting. Okay,
I mean, I've always listened to podcasts, which is kind of weird because like I actually often forget that I even have a podcast. Sometimes, like
I always forget, and
like,
it's weird
I don't
because
think
it's
about
like people talk about podcasts, and it's like, oh yeah, I have. Like after the conversation, it's like, oh yeah, I have a podcast.
Well, I think we've done it for so long where it doesn't feel as romantic as it used to. Like it's just kind of like this, like
Done it for so long, or not long enough, maybe. Fuck it. Like it's
don't
not
know.
first thing on our mind, or maybe it just doesn't have that much impact yet. Maybe who knows? Anyway,
But man, people are listening to these on their morning commute, or they're lifting at the gym. It's a great way to get your message out to the masses, and it's pretty simple to pull off. I mean, get a recording program and a good microphone, and you can easily report a podcast and all that good stuff.
which actually we can totally help people. Like if you're struggling, reach out to us. I mean, we have a Facebook page for the podcast. Like just reach out and we'll help you like set it all up or whatever. I mean, I don't mind walking people through what we've done. You know,
for sure.
I would definitely be good for it.
For those who are curious what we do for ours, I actually use Adobe Audition. It's one of the many programs in the Adobe Creative Cloud. We pay for the full suite, so I get to use all the cool programs for all of it. But
It's pretty cheap, right? $50 a month or
$50 a month, but you get everything, like all the programs. And I think you could probably get Audition by itself. I'm not sure what that costs me, like $10-20 a month for just Audition. And we got a really sweet like Rode NT USB microphone. So I literally I plug my Rode mic into my MacBook, and then I hit the record button on Audition, and that's all we have to do. So
People are gonna like look down on us because it's like, oh, this isn't even that hard to do.
yeah, this isn't that difficult. Like I know it sounds like, oh, these guys are experts because they have a podcast, and you know we are experts.
We are experts.
And we do have a podcast.
And we do.
But
Take that, internet.
we don't have podcasts because we're experts. We have podcasts because they're easy to make, and it's great content. So
And I low key actually love it. I think it's it's just too nice to be able to share like whatever we want, and it's a physical recording. So in 2 years, 3 years, when we want to take these podcasts and recycle them for content, because there's awesome nuggets in these podcasts, right? When we want to recycle them, or when we want to transcribe them for blog posts, or if we want to, do whatever, these can be recycled into videos, these can be recycled into whatever.
dude, if you want to be an overachiever, transcribe your podcast into a blog.
Yeah, really.
Like actually, because the SEO value would be sick.
So
We don't do that. We should do that.
we've just started putting them into videos,
Yeah,
so that's nice. That's step 2. Right?
Transcribing them is going to be insane. But
I mean, it'd be worth it one day.
sure.
So.
I mean, like,
But that's the nice thing, though. It's a recording.
yep.
So, like, I'll have this in 30 years.
Yep.
If MP4 formats are still around.
Yeah, maybe.
But, like that's the nice thing is it's a recording. So, just keep that in mind,
For sure. And kind of along the lines of a podcast, or content type number 14, interviews. A great way to bring more traffic to your site is to interview prevalent thought leaders in your industry and to post them onto your site. So if you want to look like a thought leader, you should be having conversations with other thought leaders and showing everyone that you had a conversation with said thought leader.
Great reach, by the way. You get to mix audiences. So, like, say you have 1 million followers and they have 1 million followers, and not all of their 1 million followers are following you. I mean, think of how many people you're hitting. Like, that's just enormous. just huge. Plus, you get to clash ideas. You get to do whatever, talk.
It'd be like us getting Gary Vaynerchuk on this podcast. Like anyone who's typing in Gary Vaynerchuk on the podcast up on Apple would see that he was on our show, and then they'd totally listen to this show.
Yeah,
and some of them might, some of them will probably subscribe, or some of them think we're scrubs and not talk to us ever again. But
but more likely subscribe, because let's be real.
Let's get real.
But yeah, that's exactly it. Like you get huge reach with interviews. Usually there's a huge social sharing side to it. So interviews huge. Keep the interview game strong. I know a lot of YouTubers who got big solely on interviews. Like they just reached out to people who had, you start small, who have 1,000 followers, 2,000 followers, 5,000 followers, and slowly work your way up the ladder until you have, just tons of followers, and you're the next, what's his name? One of those big, huge dudes on cable or something. I don't know, but you get the idea. Like, just keep working your way up. Just talk to people who are sort of similar size, cross audiences enough, and when you start growing an audience that way, that's how you've perfected the interview.
Please prepare your interviews ahead of time. Like, do not go by the seat of your pants, because that's very rude to your interviewees. Like spending his time and honestly giving giving of his authority to you in some way. Don't waste your time with stupid questions, or don't sit there and go, man, I gotta think of some more questions to ask you because I burned through all of mine. Like, come up with like 20 to 40 questions you would ask, and then like a time frame of like 20 minutes, and just get through as many as you can, or whatever. A great format, by the way, is you introduce your interviewee, you act really excited, you build up that anticipation, ask a question, let the interviewer answer, repeat until the interview's over. So it's just ask, receive, ask, receive, ask, receive. And then, if they bring up a really interesting point in their answer, you can ask additional questions as you deem appropriate, and then you conclude. So you be sure you thank the interviewee for his time, and then you provide a call to action for your audience. So the CTA could be
follow interviewer.
Yeah, follow interviewee at So he's already given you the CTA should be as a benefit to the interviewee, right? So don't do a CTA to your services off of an interview they let you have.
Yeah, it's a little.
Always do a CTA to your interviewee. It's good etiquette. And then provide like a written summary, or maybe even like transcribe out your interview, so like that way your audience can either listen to it on a podcast, read it on their tablet, or watch it on YouTube or whatever medium you deem appropriate. But interviews are great. And finally, we are on content type 15, research and original data. My man's bread and butter.
Dude, I honestly think that this should almost be folded into everything. Like, this should be like a parent topic to all content, right? And of course, it could be, its own thing. Like, I used to do research at a university, so I love research. But, like, numbers are actually, like, they hold a ton of value for people, right? There's a huge logic side of community and a huge logic side of business owners, etc., that rely heavily on numbers, and especially in like technical fields, right? So sharing research with others is a great way to drive traffic, build trust, and establish the authority, because they're obviously like, oh, these dudes did the research on it. They're going to win, straight up. So an easy way to pull it off is just finding a good topic that the audience will care about, invest the time and effort into understanding it, and then presenting the data in engaging ways. And presenting it could be in any of the ways that we talked about today. So infographics, videos, gifographics, anything like that. Podcasts, hell, like you guys probably learned today that videos convert 7 times more than images. So 7 times more. That's a number. That's researched. And you get those numbers from surveying people that are unbiased and in your category. So in my case, 7 times more people would be for B2B leads conducted by Advanced Marketing Center or Advanced Marketing Institute, Advanced Marketing some group. So that's the foolproof way. That's how you pull it off. That's what you get done.
So yeah, just find a topic that your audience will care about and invest the time and effort into understanding it, because you're probably writing quite a bit on it. Present your data in a super engaging way. share concrete numbers, percentages, other details. And it's super great way to drive traffic, to build that trust. Again, thought leadership. If you're the researcher, like, how much more authority do you need? Like, how much, if you're the actual researcher doing it, like, you're the research that the authors are talking about.
Albert Einstein is the thought leader on the photoelectric effect and the theory of relativity. Like you go to him because he came up with the paper. He's the guy who did the research for it.
You cannot establish any more authority than to actually be the researcher.
Yeah, really.
You know what I mean? Like, you could establish a lot of like thought leadership. It's like, get this, thought leadership is almost like kind of like Inception in a way. Like, I'm gonna write a book review about a guy that wrote a book about a guy that wrote a book based on research, like
that I conducted.
Yeah, that I, you know, I mean, so
it goes so deep. You are the point.
You are the authority.
Start. Yeah, you are the start point. So the beginning, the end. You know.
So some really great things you should keep in mind when conducting research and original data and putting it together is it can get kind of expensive. Like, research.
Yeah, if you're surveying, if you're doing this, then
it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of money to do this. So evaluate the cost before diving in, because it'd be a real shame for you not to have enough money to finish out the research. Like, you will literally just throw your money in the trash can if you can't even get to your conclusion.
Yeah, like halfway through a study. Like,
take the research that you do for yourself anyways and turn it into a blog post as a study. This will provide you with more content while also continuing to establish you as an expert. So for us, if we're like actually coming up with like a lot of research and we're just doing it solely because we want to make our company better, we can actually take our research findings, what we learned, and we can actually spin it as a blog post and give it to you guys and go, here's one of the studies we ran. And so this thing that we were doing anyways for our company, like, that we weren't really like thinking about making into content, we have now made into content. We've established more of our authority, and now we're thought leaders. Yeah. So you can rehash like research that you're going to do for yourself anyways, and make it benefit you so much, all the more. And then you can actually go all the way back up to content type 1 for this. Communicate your research as an infographic. This will provide your research with a chance to be shared by more people who may not come across it otherwise. So let's get real. The masses probably don't care about your research. That's just how it is. Like, the majority of people do not care about research,
or they don't understand how deep it can run. They may not be able to comprehend the whole scenario.
Okay, maybe they would care. They would care about the research if they didn't have to dig through a 20, 30, 50, 60 page research paper on the topic that you wrote about, So if you create an infographic that someone can they can literally digest everything you did very simply
and understand how it relates to the macro, like, oh, if I do this, it's going to do that, which will bring me more money.
Yeah.
Right. If you can connect it to the big and it's digestible, you've won.
Yeah. So,
which was a huge thing. So when I worked in a research lab for a university, that's huge, right? We were working on something that was affecting the sodium-potassium pump. I bet none of you guys, I mean, maybe 10% of you guys who did biology and stuff know what the sodium-potassium pump is. And even further, we were working on mutating the sodium-potassium pump. And even further, we were working on a sodium leak. And even further, we were working on, this, that, and the other. But what does that mean? It can relate to, in a macro scale, maybe high blood pressure, maybe some other, things, but you guys don't care about the sodium potassium pump talk. You care about the high blood pressure. You care about the macro. So making it easy to digest with an infographic, so all the research easy to digest and relate it to the macro, that's how you win. That's how you get people to understand it.
Man, we are over an hour right now.
Jesus, we thought this was going to take 20 minutes. We're dude, we're just going to run through this real quick. 20 minutes, let's just bang this out.
Well, there's a lot of good things in each one. Maybe we should have divvied this up into 2 parts, but
yeah, maybe we can go deep. Well, no, I think we've touched on content marketing enough for now. I think we'll leave content marketing alone for the next couple of weeks or something. But
yeah, those are 15 types of content marketing. I mean, if you're interested, go to www.wearehone.com. Check out our blog. I've got our types of content marketing thing listed, as well as other articles written by Ryan and Attilio and whoever else who's
Yeah,
contributed.
we just put together a ton of blogs. But I mean, check it out if you're interested. Otherwise,
Do not forget to check out that really, really good content or online marketing glossary that Attilio put together.
oh Jesus, dude, that thing's I think is only gonna come in handy. Well, I don't know. I sent it off to Index and Crawl for Google. If it ranks, which I have a good feeling it will, because the other ones weren't even updated since like 2014. So I have a feeling that the freshness signal is just gonna be like win. But I don't know. We'll see. I think the only way that it'll help us if it ranks or if people are like actually going through our website for glossary stuff.
For sure. And I think
Either way, context is there huge. I mean, there's tons of words, tons of links. So if anything, we already won. So you don't even have to look at our stuff. We're already reaping the benefits of it. So, but yeah. So take a look at some of this stuff. It's really good. Hopefully, it's helpful to all of you guys. We want to spread around all this information as much as possible. I think sharing is caring, and learning is definitely the way to the top for everyone. So.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Success matters for everyone, right? That's what we're here for, is to really bring success to everyone we're working with. So,
again, thank you so much to all of our listeners. Our listener base is growing more and more all the time. We couldn't do this without you, and we are so thankful for you spending your time to listen to us. And yeah, you want to cash us out?
Yeah, let's cash it.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for everything. We'll see you soon.
Peace.